Today is Thursday, August 14th, 2025, and it is Yom Chamishi, fifth day of the week. It seems to me that the fifth day of the week has messianic connections because Chamishi are the words Mishichi, letters. So that's from Rabbi Ginsburg. And Yom Chamishi, today is the 20th day of Av, a very special day for a few reasons. Number one, personally, I received my Israeli citizenship today. I made Aliyah, so I received my Tudat Zehut, which is basically becoming an Israeli citizen. And it's also a day that's mentioned in the Talmud about a certain family who brought wood for the altar, and it was made a special day for this family. And this is not to be confused with Tu B'Av, which is when they started, but this is a particular family that donated, and the identity of that family is a subject of debate in the Talmud. I believe it's in Tractate Ta'anit 26a, but it could be elsewhere as well. It does mention the 20th of Av on that daf, but it mentions it in terms of wood also, but I'm not sure if it's that family in particular, but maybe it is that Talmud as well. But in any case, it's connected to Tu B'Av in a sense that it's around the same time, but it's not to be confused with Tu B'Av, in that it was a day that a particular family offered, and then every year it became a special day to offer wood for the altar. And it's also the yard site, the anniversary of the passing of the father of the Lubavitcher Rebbe of blessed memory, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. His father, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Schneerson, was a brilliant mathematician, and I'm told that he wrote papers and books on mathematics alone, and had incredibly complex gematrias, and I was told by someone, I think a reliable source, but then, who am I to say, but it sounds like it was credible, is that he said he always encouraged the Lubavitcher Rebbe to do more gematria, and he felt that he didn't do enough gematria. And so that's a special connection to this day, this special day for me personally, and for this calendar, which is the PL-89 calendar, which very much ties in history, gematria, astronomy/astrology, and Jewish law and Talmud and Jewish philosophy. It's a gematriatic thought calendar. I don't know of any other like it, which is based on both the sun and the moon, per Psalm 72. See Psalm 72. Im Hashemesh vilifnei ereach dor dorim. And this calendar goes to that. It's the sun and the moon, which ties into concepts of Jacob and Esau, and the end times, and the timelines that are gematriatically ascertained, and gematriatic understanding of events that happen in one's personal life and in the collective history. And so, to give some few examples of that, what you're looking at is you're looking at 80 visible squares. I'm not counting the white and the yellow rectangles. I'm talking only about the purple and lavender or violet. It's called the PL-89 because purple and lavender, but there's other reasons too. And you're looking at 80 squares because it's eight columns and 10 rows. So, and underneath this, there is an invisible row of 10, possibly even 11 days, depending on whether it's a Hebrew or Gregorian calendar, because Gregorian can go up to 31, and Hebrew can go to 29. So it's either 29 up until either 9 or to 11 days at the bottom. And this dispensation, which means the past 2 years we've been in right now, is the time that the month of what are known as the fixed months. The fixed months in astrology are August/Av, which is this month, and Cheshvan/November, and February/Shvat, and May/Iyar. Those are fixed months, which means they're middle of the season. Right now we're deep in the middle of the summer. We haven't started the summer. That was like July, and now we're deep in the middle of summer, and the next month we're going to be at the end, actually transitioning from summer into fall. And the fall comes the new year, the new calendar year, Rosh Hashanah. But in these fixed months, this starts. It wasn't always the start date is not always Av/August 1. It is this time, but it was at one point Nisan 1/April 1. It was also, at one point, it was March, believe it or not, for the longest period of time, for 8 years, it was started at the end, meaning the mutable months, meaning March, June, September, and December, those started the calendar. So this would have been September 1st and /Elul 1. And that's the original first date that this calendar started. That is Elul 1/September 1, and it may not have been exactly those dates, but those are the official, that's the 0 of that time period. I hope you know what I mean, but like, let's just say on the Hebrew calendar, Aleph Elul was August 24th, let's say, or August 26th. So then you reckon it that it's here. It's close enough to this, so Rosh Chodesh, so August 26th would be moved to this one box number 8. And if it's September, and if let's just say Rosh Chodesh Elul came in September 5th, it goes back down to September 1st. It sort of makes them flexible. So today is a very special day on this calendar because something, and this goes to the predetermination, and it's mysterious of how heaven really, it's God that determines all, even our own free will actions are somehow calculated that we'll do certain things at certain times to make certain things happen that will actually be instrumental on coming on a certain date. I was mentioning yesterday, and the mood was more somber because something, I'll say, more on the negative side happened. And it was kind of a very dark and not favorable feeling. And certain things were said, and negative emotions were expressed, and it wasn't fun. And I didn't plan it, I didn't want it to happen, but it happened. But it happened so that the official thing that happened that had to come out today. And because it came out today, the box here is 39. Now 39 is the gematria of Hashem Echad, God is one. It's also the gematria of Ahava Echad. I'm sorry, Hashem Ahava, God is love. So you see that 39 is the 14th day of the month because it's a plus 13. So it's 1 plus 13. Now this is where the Julian calendar comes in. The Julian calendar is the calendar that was in effect before the Gregorian calendar came into play, with Pope Gregory the 13th, talking about 13, no pun intended, or didn't mean to make that reference, but he was actually Pope Gregory the 13th, made the calendar reform in February 24th of 1582. And that's when the Gregorian calendar, the calendar that we have today, that makes today August 14th, was started in 1582. And not all countries accepted it, but gradually, in different years, different countries adopted it. And which is interesting because my studies, the last country to adopt it was Greece, which adopted the Gregorian calendar in 1923, which was the very year that the Daf Yomi started, which is what one of the reasons that sparked my interest in the pagination sequence of the Daf Yomi, that it's from, as it were, I want to be so bold as to say from Hashem, determined from God, from heaven, that the Daf Yomi numbers have a special relationship with the dates, the Hebrew date, the Gregorian date, and the Julian date, which is 13 days ago. It loses a few minutes each year, and so for the amount of time that we'll be dealing with this calendar, it's going to be 13 days. It's like 13 days behind. It's losing a few minutes, I think, each year. It's like from 1900 up until the year 2099, it's going to be 13 days behind, from what I understand. So that will be enough time until all of us will be gone probably by that time, before then. But anyway, today is 39. August 14th is 39, which makes this the true entering conceptually of August. Because August 1st on the Julian calendar starts this cycle. Okay? Now, on the real August 1st, 13 days ago, it was a Friday, and it was in the 9 days. And if you can see the whole 13 days, which is just about 2 weeks, just visualize right before the 9 days, the Shabbos before the 9 days, that feeling, and then Tisha B'Av, that feeling, that energy, and then the week after, the consolations that come, and then the Shabbos of consolation, Nachamu, has its own very wonderful, unique vibe, and then we're now approaching the Thursday of Parshas Eikev. So you take that whole composite time and you see it in one vision, and that is a Julian week. So I call it a Julian week is the difference between the Gregorian and the Julian, and you see it all in one line. Now today it's very appropriate because it's 39 is 13 plus 26. It's Hashem Ahava or Hashem Echad, or you can do 3 times Ahava Ahava Ahava, or you can do Echad Echad Echad, or different combinations. But this was how it was like on Tu B'Av. The Friday before Tu B'Av was also on 39, and 13 before that. I applied the Julian formula to the Hebrew day as well. So it was the Aleph of Av and 14th of Av. Then the Shabbos came by, and then so that's 39. And 39, if I'm not mistaken, actually, I didn't count it, but according to Tovia Singer, the word Mashiach is mentioned 39 times in the whole Tanakh. And I didn't count that, but I did count the amount of words in the portion of Shiluach HaKan. Some people call it Ken, but Shiluach HaKen, I think it's written Shiluach HaKan. I think it's written HaKan, but I'm not sure. In any case, it's a mitzvah of sending away the mother bird. And in that whole parsha, which is only a couple of verses, there are exactly 39 words in it. So there seems to be a connection between the mitzvah of Shiluach HaKan and Mashiach. If it's true that the word Mashiach appears 39 times in the whole Bible, whole Tanakh, then the fact that there's 39 words in the midst of Shiluach HaKan, and that in the Zohar it says the abode, the Heichal of the Mashiach, has a specific name called the Kan Tzipor, the bird's nest. So if there are 39 words in the Shiluach HaKan, and there are 39 times the word Mashiach is written in the whole Torah, and the Mashiach's abode is called mystically the bird's nest, so we see a connection here. But it's fortunate that today is that day. Today is 39. So it's also the 11th event. The event started right after Tisha B'Av. The day after Tisha B'Av was the first event. An event is its own study. It's my own personal study, but it's basically ordering of timelines through these so-called events. These events could be mental events, physical events, all kinds of events. Basically, the concept is everything is an event. Even when you go buy dinner, it's an event. And when you, wash your hands, it's an event. Everything is an event. There's nothing that's too minute not to be called an event. And if you enter those places in the most minute area, can you use those memories to apply them to the macro? Can those micro memories apply to the micro? That's one conception of it. But in any case, today's the 11th event, and on the Hebrew calendar, on the 20th of Av, we're in 10. By the way, the English gematria for TEN equals 39. So they also match, right? 10 is 39, but it's also 39 on the Gregorian calendar. But one of the rules, I've said it many times in the past, is that these, both purple and violet, can be merged into one. If you do that, 10 and 1 is 11. And that makes today the 11th event. And when I make these videos, after I shut the video, there's always so many more things I could have said. I don't say them, but I'm sure there will be. There's so many more things, but these are the things for now.